Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and happy Saturday to you all. Welcome inside the Griffin Center Arena. It's time for game 26 of the regular season for the GWSHL. And in this matchup, it's going to be Game of Zones. This is my first time covering Game of Zones. I'm so excited. Game of Zone versus Stranger Rinks. And a lot of green and red going to happen. It's going to look like Christmas here on the ice. Bring you into the arena. There we go. Got some players just coming on the ice for warm-up. About 4 or 5 minutes until we get going. I'll do a quick recap of what happened last week. In game 21, Puck Dynasty suffered a 1-0 loss to Stranger Rinks. That was a close match. Game number 22, that 70s shot suffered a 3-1 loss to Shots Creek. Game 23, 2-1, Sticks in the City over Jurassic Puck. Blade Watch, 2-0 shutout over Selling Slap Shots. Game of Zones lost 3-1 to 1 Rink Hill, and that means the standings are as such. Again in first place, tied with 1 Rink Hill is Blade Watch. Both of them have 9 points. Stranger Rinks moving up to 7 with 7 points. Sticks in the City in 4th place, tied with Shots Creek. They're both moving up 2 spots. Dropping is Selling Slap Shots, tied with Puck Dynasty. That 70 shot in Jurassic Park are tied there at the bottom, and then Game of Zones still has yet to register a point in this season, and we'll see how that plays out here today as they face off against Stranger Rinks. Our players to watch today. We're going to start with Game of Zones. Game of Zones, number 2, Anna Albrecht. I remember watching her last weekend. Now, she is the captain for Game of Zones. She grew up playing ringette in the Ottawa region and was lucky enough to play in both the Ontario Winter Games as well as the Canada Winter Games as a teen. She stopped playing while getting her education and raising a family. 10 years ago, she started playing hockey and now helps run 4 different daytime shinny groups for women in the area. This is Anna's 6th season playing with the GWSHL. She is very skilled and a feisty offensive player who is hard to catch once she gets the puck. 2 years ago, she was named the league's most valuable player. She lives with her husband and 3 teenage girls, 3 guinea pigs, 1 fish, and 8 free-range chickens. So that is an interesting, eclectic group. That is our player to watch for Game of Zones, number 2, Anna Albrecht. Moving over to Stranger Rinks, number 1, Allison Lang. She is the goaltender for Stranger Rinks and one of the oldest and the wisest players in the leagues. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to tell you how old she is. You're going to have to guess that. She has represented Team Ontario 3 times at the 55-plus Canada Winter Games. That's quite admirable. The team even won nationals in 2022, so congratulations to Allison for that. Allison worked as a police officer for the Waterloo Regional Police Force, mostly in forensic crime scenes and computers and internet child exploitation cases. She is now retired. I'll give you some indication how old she is. Now retired and enjoys taking her dogs to hunt test. Oh, that's interesting. That is our player to watch for Stranger Rinks. So we'll keep an eye on those guys. Back in the rink. 3-minute warm-up hasn't quite started the countdown yet, but everybody is here on the ice. Game of Zones, again in green, skating from right to left. Stranger Rinks will be in red, skating from left to right. And there is going to be 1 purple there, number 5 there, as she is standing in there and helping out for Game of Zones. Hard to imagine, this is already week 5. Everybody's played 4 or 5 games. There was the doubleheader last Saturday. There's a doubleheader this weekend. We have 2 games today and 2 games tomorrow. The 6:30 game later on this evening is between Selling Slap Shots and Shots Creek. Just an FYI on that. Hopefully you can tune in for that one later on this evening. Then tomorrow, May 31st, we're rounding out the week of May, the month of May. Selling Slap Shots will take on that 70s shot. And then the 6:30 game, Jurassic Puck will take on Stranger Rinks. So a lot of the same teams here I'm covering this weekend. but that's okay. I love getting to know these girls. We do have our clock counting down here, 2 minutes until we get going for puck drop. So once again, my name is Cheryl Gilroy. Thank you so much for joining the live streams here with me here for the GWSHL this summer. I'm having a blast calling these games and getting to know these players. I'm all for women's hockey. Anybody who knows me knows I'm for the women's movement. And I enjoy calling U22 Elite games during the regular hockey season between September and April. And I'm so honored to be calling these games here for the GWSHL this summer. And I'm going to be with them all summer, right until the semifinals and finals, which take place in August. There will be a few times I will not be here due to previous commitments, but I'll try to bring at least 2 games to you at least every single weekend. This weekend it's 2 games today and 2 games tomorrow, and I believe next week it's only Sunday on June the 6th, but I'm definitely looking forward to bringing more action to you. 1 minute remaining here in warm-up, and then we'll get set for puck drop. So once again, thank you for joining me here this afternoon. Stand by. Go with the starting goaltender. Starting in net here on the Stranger Rinks side, as previously mentioned, number 1, Allison Lang. And for Game of Zones, also number 1, Shauna Dinwoody. Five seconds left. Stand by, folks. I got 10 minutes on the clock here for period number 1. Both groups are just going to have a final little powwow here together at their benches, as they always do. Green and red, Christmas time here in the rink. Looks like Stranger Rinks is ready. Game of Zones, are you ready? Looks like on the forward line for Stranger Rinks, we've got Sagan, Boyle, and Martone. And I believe it is Vij and Mullock on the defense. It's going to be Martone in the face-off for Stranger Rinks. And Albrecht, I believe, is going to take the face-off for Game of Zones. One little purple jersey there is Maddie Hardy, subbing in and giving Game of Zones a hand as they are a little bit short-staffed today. On the face-off dot, we're ready for period 1, folks, and we're underway. Game of Zones is going to take possession of that puck quickly, moving it forward. Jen Mullock sending it back towards the Game of Zones end. And in possession now is Amanda Robinson. She'll get it into the neutral zone. It's going to get picked up by Hardy. She'll skate in, but doesn't reach the puck in time before it is taken over by Stranger Rinks. Here comes Melissa Martone with a backhand and a save. Did it go in? Did they award that goal? Thought Dinwiddie got a hold of it. Looks like they are going to award them the goal. Quick 1-0, 30 seconds in. I thought Dinwiddie had it. Referee must have seen it. So 30 seconds in, we'll have another face-off here at center ice between the same two participants, Martone and Albrecht. But this time, 1-0 lead. Game of Zones is going to have to work hard to see if they can't get an equalizer quickly. Albrecht looking for the puck, sending it up to Hardy. Misses her. Mullock to the goal line. Looking for Sagan. That's who she hands it off to. And in the neutral zone, nope. Cross pass out to Boyle. Boyle's going to try to move it into the middle for Martone. Intercepted by Robinson and off the far side boards. Martone collecting that before it gets too far. Moving into the slot. Hands it off to Sagan. She sends it into the corner. Vish trying to hold on to it at the blue line as it's now in the corner. Near side corner. In comes Heather Kerr. Andrea Vanderveen trying to get out. She'll hand it off to the D, and it will get as far as the blue line, but not out. Back behind the goal line for Amanda Robinson. She'll chase after it. Can't get rid of it. Oh, Albrecht is going to get a hold of it, and she's going to take it for a skate. Over the red line, now over the blue. Trying to cut in the middle in the slot. Gets the shot off, but it's just by the near side post. It'll bounce back out in front, but no green jersey available to hit it in. Back out to the defense for Game of Zones. Maddie Botello bringing it in, putting it in on net, saved by Lang. Now they score. Just like that, 1-1. I knew Game of Zones wouldn't be down for long. We're barely 2 minutes into this game, and we've got goals on each side. Is that indicative of how this game is going to go? We shall see. Back at the face-off dot. This time it's Christine Fisher on the face-off for Stranger Rinks. She'll bring it in the zone on the Game of Zones side, in the Game of zone. Game of Zones is going to hold on to that puck and get it out of their end, right back to the Stranger Rinks defense. Alex Gross putting it back forward, but turning it around is going to be Logan Mercier. Back in the neutral zone. It's going to be one of those tennis matches again. I can sense it with my camera going back and forth. That's Kim Schneider. Game of Zones getting it to the blue line. They'll get across that blue line, trying to drop past it, looking for Alicia Mason. That's steered aside into the near side corner. Stranger Rinks is going to reclaim that puck and get it forward. Here's Sagan. She'll bring it on her own. That was a quick rest on the bench. Looking for a friendly stick in front. She'll hit the brakes. Looking for a backhand. Finds Martone. Martone cutting in short side. That goes over the crossbar and clear out the other side. That's going to go the distance, likely for icing. Nope, no icing. Icing waved off. Back behind the goal line in the Stranger Rinks end. 6.5 to go here in the first period now. 1-1. Sagan making a turn. Looking for Boyle on the far side. Finds her. Boyle trying to hand it off to Martone. Game of Zones turning around the other way. This is Anna Albrecht. Can't maintain control as she comes over the blue line, turning it around. Here's Melissa Martone. Towards the net, but behind. Hardy. Trying to send it back to the defense. It's Amanda Robinson again to the far side. Sarah Boyle holding on to it for Stranger Rinks. Game of Zones passing it around behind their net. Here's Vanderveen. No, Albrecht is going to take over. Get it to the neutral zone and handing it up to Hardy. Hardy has her pocket picked. Jen Mullock gets a hold of that. Right back to Robinson, though, as Game of Zones tries to come right back into Stranger Rinks end. They get it out. That'll go the distance, and that should be icing, and it is. 5:33 remaining. just going to tip this camera up just a little bit. There we go. It seems like it's a little too far down. There we go. Looked like it was a bit off. There we go. 5:33, we'll have a face-off to the left of Lay. Again, our player to watch. Mason trying to put it through. Game of zones right in the slot area. Stranger Rinks taking over. In the neutral zone here, Stranger Rinks bringing it back in the Game of zone. I'm going to be double talking all night, I know it. Game of zones coming back the other way. This is Muddy Botello. Scores! What a shot. Maddie, excuse me, not Muddy. Why am I reading my own handwriting wrong? Game of zones. 2-1 lead. I know I'm having a problem with the rosters, but Cheryl, at least pronounce them correctly, right? 2-1 now in favor of Game of Zones. Again, Game of Zones doesn't have a point yet. They're in 10th place. So I'm sure they're going to want to continue to score as this game goes on. 5 minutes remaining here in the first period. Shot in by Hardy. Shoulder block there by Lang. Trying the short side. That deflects by everybody and goes into the corner. Stranger Rinks can't clear the zone, though. Game of zones. Here's Anna Albrecht going around the wraparound. Nice try, but did not work. Stranger Rinks back into the Game of zones end. Trying to steer in front, loses an edge there. Game of zones has an opportunity to let that puck out. Held on to at the red line by Jen Molek, but no, Melissa Hardy's going to take it away. Maddie Hardy, excuse me. I'll get it right, I promise. I do have my little cheat sheet here. I just have to keep reading it. Out to Sarah Boyle. She hands it right in on the Game of zone, and the goaltender, Dinwiddie, makes the save. He's right in on net. Comes Melissa Martone, cutting in. Shot in and a save. 3:54 remaining in the first period. 2-1 in favor of Game of Zones. Have a face-off here to the left of Dinwiddie. There we go. At the line from Malek. Sending it down to the goal line. Going to get turned around by Vanderveen. Out to her partner on the far side and into the neutral zone. Stranger Rinks putting it back in play, but right on to a Game of Zones defense stick, and they're going to call that on the offside. Yeah, offside. That's what I said, offside. Stranger Rinks brings it back in. It's Jen Mullock again, putting it back behind the goal line in the Game of Zones end. Vanderveen hands it off to her partner. Botello. Botello taken for a skate, slides it forward. That's going to be icing. I will let you know that I have not been keeping track. So I have not been hitting my button for replays. I do apologize. I'll be sure and hit that button here as I continue on. So I'm not going to have any replays for you at the break. My bad. Do my best to perfect everything I need to with this new program. And this weekend, I'm missing replays for period number 1, but I'll make sure I do that better as I go along. Stranger Rinks puts a shot in on the other side for Boyle. Can't tuck it in. And Game of Zones is going to get it out. Sagan pokes it aside, tries to bring it right back in. Game of Zones turns it back the other way. Tamara Vij at the blue line. Looking to cut in is Martone. What a nice glove save by Dinwiddie. 2:35 remaining in the period. Face off to the right of Dinwiddie. Albrecht on the draw for Game of Zones, right back to the Stranger Rinks defense, and a shot in right from the blue line by Alex Gross, and another save by Dinwiddie. So we'll have a face-off on the other side. Fisher on the draw for Stranger Rinks this time. Right back to Gross, through. That's going to get easily steered aside by Dinwiddie to the far side, and Game of Zones will clear it out. Coming back in the zone in a flurry here in the slot, fires, save by Lang. Maddie Botello on the offensive there, great shot in. 2:12 remaining in the first period. Face off to the left of Lang, right to the Game of Zones defense. Shot in, and another save by Lang. That shot made by Amanda Robinson at the blue line. Another face off here to the left of Lang. We're into the slot area, but Stranger Rinks is going to gather that puck. Schneider bringing it down to the Game of Zones portion of the rink, just past the blue line. They'll fight for that puck in the far side corner. Robinson getting in on it. Trying to get it around the red sweater. Game of Zones can't clear the puck just yet. It'll go behind the net. Behind the goal line, taking her time. That's Vanderveen. Back out to the red line for Stranger Rinks. It's Ruth McAllister sending it in. Right out in front. Ooh, that just sliced by the near side post. Stranger Rinks nearly at a gift. Here comes Gabby Condello. Looking for a teammate, finds her. Botello loses a handle on it. She has her pocket picked. Stranger Rinks gets it to the neutral zone. They don't get too far. Final minute of play here in the first period. 2-1 in favor of Game of Zones. Back to Ruth McAllister behind the Stranger Rinks goal line. Right up to Sagan. Doesn't get there in time. Game of Zones turning it around. Here's Anna Albrecht down the far side. Cutting in around the defense. Martone nearly got in her way. Now she's going to chase her. Albrecht still trying to get it out in front. Oh, Lang jumps on it. She okay? Slow to get up. Quite a feisty little goalie. I'll face off to the right of Lang. Albrecht on the face-off dot for Game of Zones. Final 15 seconds here of the period. It'll come out. Here comes Martone on a breakaway. What a save by Dinwiddie. Wow. We'll get set up here for the second period. Now, I did think to hit the replay button for that. So let's see if we can have a look at that fantastic save by Dinwiddie. Face off in the Stranger Rinks end. Here comes Martone through the neutral zone into the slot. Fires in a great save there by Dinwiddie. Nice. Just a reminder, at the 6:30 game, it's going to be Selling Slap Shots and Shots Creek. Looking forward to bringing you that one. Still 2 periods left in this one, though. 2-1 in favor of Game of Zones. Again, Game of Zones looking to get 2 points as they have not registered a win yet in the season. So they'll be excited to get that, and I'm sure that's what they'll be striving for here in the next 2 periods. Everyone's set here for period number 2. Well, the face-off dot for Game of Zones is going to be Anna Albrecht, the captain of Game of Zones. And I believe it will be Martone for Stranger Rinks. We're set for period 2. Won by Stranger Rinks. So hold in possession. No, Hardy nearly had an attempt there. Couldn't hold on to the puck. She nearly broke away with it. Stranger Rinks shot in on Dinwiddie. Looks like she has it in the gloves. Face off to the left of Dinwiddie. Stranger Rinks still in possession, right from the blue line for the defense. That's Jen Mullock sending it in. Pad save by Dinwiddie. Game of Zones trying to clear the puck. Sagan cutting it off with the pass. Holds on to it. Andrea Vanderveen now gets it to the neutral zone, but right at the red line for Stranger Rinks. They bring it right back in. Cutting in, shot, save! Oh, how did that not go in? Vish trying to send it through all the crowd out in front. Stranger Rinks somehow holding onto that puck at the blue line. Right back to Vish. She loses it in her feet. Down to Boyle in the corner. Boyle trying to send it around to the far side. Martone now will send it in. Another save by Dinwiddie. What action here in the second period. Sure, let's kick it out. Held on to by Mullock. Right to Boyle. She puts it in, but just misses on the near side. Maddie Hardy now is going to relieve the pressure and get it into the neutral zone. Not for long, though. Stranger Rinks bringing it right back in. They just have to get onside. Schneider chasing after it. Comes back. Game of Zones now over the blue line. Cutting in the middle. Shot over the top of Lang and over the crossbar. That was Maddie Botello. Another shot in. And that skips over everybody into the near side corner. All the way back into the neutral zone to the Game of Zones defense. There's Amelia Millette putting it forward. Schneider pushes her way through into the Game of Zones end. Right out in front for Heather Kerr. Another shot in, and that's steered aside. That was Logan Mercier getting it out of harm's way. Right back out in front, the shot in. Another save by Dinwiddie. Stranger Rinks putting on the pressure. Dinwiddie ready for it all. Game of Zones enters the zone onside. Drop pass, shot in, and a save by Lang. Alicia Mason firing that shot. 7:18 here remaining in the second period. Still 2-1. Game of Zones. Albrecht on the face-off dot for Game of Zones. Puck sits there for a second, but now Kim Schneider thought she was going to take it for escape, but it goes right back to her defense. Into the neutral zone. Maddie Hardy trying to get around the Stranger Rinks defense. Over the blue line. Now Hardy's got it again. Looking for help. Albrecht, backhand, save by Lang, and she'll pounce on that for a face-off. Albrecht on the face-off dot versus Martone for Stranger Rinks. As we continue here in the second period. Hardy. And she's in purple, but she does play for the green team. Stranger Rinks out in front. 3-on-2 here. Martone to the far side for Sagan. Sagan trying to cut in. Gets it out in front, but not to a friendly stick. Tamara Vish coming in. Has her pocket picked by Albrecht. Now to the far side. Here's Mullock now for Stranger Rinks trying to find Boyle out in front. Mullet can't hand it off to her. Intercepted. Albrecht trying to take it for a skate. It'll come all the way down into the Stranger Rinks. And no icing. Mullet gets there for Stranger Rinks. And she comes to the middle, over to Martone. Martone will bring it in now. Towards the net, shot in and scores! That evens things up. 2-2 tie in the second. Now I did capture that. So we'll look at that one at the break. Martone on the face-off. Won by Stranger Rinks. Sagan's going to recollect it. Utland's going to come right back in and see if they can't get another goal quickly. Can't hang on to it. Here comes Maddie Patello for Game of Zones. In the slot, shot in the short side, saved by Lang. Maddie Patello on the face-off for Game of Zones. In comes Fisher for Stranger Rinks. Puck is down. Game of Zones looked to get towards the net, but it steered aside into the corner. Game of Zones gets a hold of it again, looking for a backhand. That's intercepted. Picked up by Fisher. And the ladies in red are going to get it to the blue line, but not out. Game of Zones still on the offensive here in the Stranger Rinks end. Just at the halfway point here of the period as well as this contest. Into the neutral zone. Heather Kerr loses the handle on that, right back to Fisher. Fisher will backhand it in, making sure Stranger Rinks gets onside. Schneider out in front. Couldn't find Heather Kerr. Heather Kerr bats it down with her glove. Shot in on the far side by Fisher, right through the blue paint and into the corner. Maddie Hardy now here for Game of Zones, dressed in purple. In the slot, weaves around. Backhand just on the near side of the post. Couldn't tuck it in. Millette down for Mercier. Shot in by Robin Fraser, steered aside by Lang. Play continues here in the second period. Now 4 minutes remaining. Sits there in the side of the net, and we'll have a stoppage in play as Lang covers up. 4:01 remaining here in the second period. Now 2-2 tie. A face-off here to the left of Lang. It's going to be Maddie Patello on the face-off versus Martone. Stranger Rinks has possession. Can't get it out. Sagan trying to gather it up, and now she's got it. She'll take it for a skate, looking for Boyle. No, she's going to skate around her. May want to pass to her in the slot area as Boyle parks herself in front of the net. Martone helping the cause. Game of Zones, though. They're going to clear the zone. All the way back for Alex Gross. Gross turning it around. Quick pass up. Vanderveen for Game of Zones brings it right back in the Stranger Rinks end. Puck sits there for a second. Patello couldn't stuff it in over the pads of Lang. Another shot in from the slot by Amanda Robinson. That misses on the near side, and Stranger Rinks, they're going to get a hold of that puck and clear it out. Martone, couple of strides back, so Albrecht gathers that puck. Another shot in. Into slot area, Martone gets a hold of it, but it bounces over. Game of Zones brings it in. Hardy a couple of strides behind, couldn't get a handle on that. Hardy riding the blue line, trying to hand it over to Robinson, doesn't work. Stranger Rinks picking it up. That's Fisher for Stranger Rinks. Gets it to the red line. They'll battle for it right there in front, over to Gross in the far corner for Stranger Rinks. And out. That will go the distance. That should be icing. Yes, it is. 2 minutes remaining here in period number 2, and a 2-2 tie between Game of Zones and Stranger Rinks. Face off to the right of Lang. In comes Maddie Botello for a Game of Zones to take the face off. Puck will sit there for a second. Ladies in green trying to get a shot in. Back to Millette at the blue line. Millette's got it again. She'll fire it in on net. That misses on the far side. In fact, it hit the far side goalpost. Game of Zones. They want to get a go-ahead goal here before the end of the second period. Certainly doing all they can. To the point. That's intercepted. Mercier trying again, trying to stay away from her rivals in red. Down low, looking for the backhand. Sticks with it, sends it to Millette. Millette through, blocker saved by Lang. Game of Zones still putting on the pressure. Almost a full minute here in the game, Stranger Rinks end. On the short side, shot in by Millette. Back to Mercier. Mercier following it up. Fisher trying to get a hold of it. That goes out the other side. Mason holds the blue line. Back towards the net and through the slot. Fisher with a backhand, trying to get it out of the end zone. Mason sending it down behind the goal line again. Play continuing here with 35 seconds remaining in the second period. Stranger Rinks are now going to get it to the neutral zone. What pressure put on by Game of Zones. Fisher, Stranger Rinks taking a turn. Intercepted by Robin Fraser. Not for long. In comes Kim Schneider. She can't get a shot off. Kerr trying to get a hold of it. Game of Zones gets it to the neutral zone. And to Albrecht. Albrecht with a little bit of speed catches up to that puck. Cuts in, shot in. Lang just gets a piece of it before time expires on the second period. We'll flip over to the third and then we'll have a look at that goal. Starts on the other end. They'll work their way to the neutral zone. Down the far side. Cutting towards the middle. Pass over and scores. Great shot. One more period left here, and then I'll take a break, and we'll get set for the 6:30 game, which is, again, Selling Slapshots and Shots Creek. I got 10 minutes up here on the board. Third period, we're all set to go. Quick reminder, I'm back for 2 more games tomorrow night as well in the regular times, 4:30 and 6:30. And there's 2 more back-to-back weekends. Albrecht will take the draw here against Martone. It's been the normal pairing up here. Game of Zones looking to see if they can't get a point. Game stays tied and they do get one, but I'm sure they'd like to have the full 2 points if they can get it. Sagan trying to turn it around for Stranger Rinks. She'll double back, then send it forward. Jen Mullock trying to scoot through. Off to Martone. Martone on target, save, Another shot in by Martone, and Dinwiddie's going to cover that up. Face off to the left of Dinwiddie. Martone and Albrecht squaring off again. Vanderveen trying to skate away with it. Right out in front from Mullock. Weaves around Hardy, puts it in on target, but that skips to the far side corner. Boyle trying to hand it off to the defense, and it will come all the way back for Mullock. She's being chased by Albrecht, so she'll have to hurry. She unloads quickly, gets it to Sagan. She'll backhand it in, but back out to the neutral zone and back onto Sagan. Back to the defense. Mullock looking for Martone. Goes off of her stick. Robinson out. Nope, just to the blue line, but not out. Now they'll get it out. Down the far side. Drop pass. Float in to Lang. That'll be a stoppage of play. That's Gabby Candello on the cause with Maddie Botello helping her out. 8:38 remaining in the third. Still 2-2. Quick shot in, but it misses on the far side. Goes into the near side corner around the backside. Millette holding the line for Game of Zones. Far side shot in. Nope. Looks like the Stranger Rinks defense gets a piece of it and will send it sailing all the way down, and that should be icing. 8:16 remaining in the third. As we listen to Saturday Night Fever on a Saturday night. Your girl's gonna wave? Wave to the camera. All the girls watching their moms play. Gotta love it. Moms setting great examples. Here comes Stranger Rinks, Kim Schneider over the blue line. Doesn't get too far. Fisher will find a way to get on that puck. Putting it back towards Kim Schneider. Kim Schneider again loses a handle on that puck. Stranger Rinks still on the hunt here in the Game of Zones end, but Game of Zones is going to find a way to get rid of it. Big pass up for Alicia Mason. She has her pocket pick. Stranger Rinks getting rid of it again. Nice turnaround there by Mercier. Back to Millette. Again, Game of Zones can't stay in there long before Stranger Rinks turns it back around. Robin Fraser trying to chase up to it. Trying to get around Ruth McAllister. Ruth McAllister puts it to the blue line, but not out. Here's Albrecht. Into the far side corner, again picked up by McAllister. Boyle did a great job getting it out to the neutral zone. Turning it around is Vanderveen. Can't get it past Sarah Boyle. Up and over that blue line again. Amanda Robinson putting it back in play in the Stranger Rinks end. Nope, it's going to get turned back around. Martone looking for Sagan. Sagan can't get there. Hardy's got it. She'll find a clear space. Wanted to send it out to the point. That didn't work. Sagan turning it around towards the target, but misses on the near side post. Martone in possession for Stranger Rinks. Takes a half a lap. Hands it back to Vij, I think. Vij will drop past it to Sagan. Sagan cutting in the middle. Shot in just by the goal line into the corner. Sagan in possession again. Back to Mullock at the red. Excuse me, blue. She's in red. Back to Mullock again. She'll fire it in. Stopped by her own teammate as she was laying down. That was Boyle, who lost an edge. She tried to fight for it while she was on the ice. Hardy. Back to Sagan. Back into the neutral zone. Martone trying to skate away with it, but Albrecht gathers the puck. She brings it right back in with Hardy. Drop pass. She was looking for Frazier. Frazier wasn't ready. Martone coming back the other way. Nearing the 5-minute mark remaining here in the third. Still 2-2 tie. Mullock can't turn around. It comes in the Stranger Rinks end. Albrecht trying to force it towards the slot. Put back to the neutral zone. Fisher nearly had an opportunity. Dinwiddie came out to play it before she had a chance to catch up to that puck and back into the neutral zone. Here's Condello looking for Botello. Mason holds the line. Here's Botello in the slot. That's deflected to the far side corner. Are we going to get a go-ahead goal? And who's going to score it? Game of Zones trying to cut in. That's Botello again. She sticks with it. Mercier comes in to give her a hand. And that's hit by Stranger Rinks shin guard. That's Kerr who got in the way. Great job by Mercier to turn it around, but she can't hang on to it. Game of Zones coming right back in. Here's Botello. She actually gets a shot off and a great save by Lang. What an effort there by Game of Zones. 4 minutes remaining here in period number 3. Mercier trying to hold the line. Can't do it. Another shot in, but it doesn't get to Lang. That's stopped by the Stranger Rinks defense and back out into the neutral zone. Fisher for Stranger Rinks can't take it for a skate. The defense tried to find Sagan up front. That'll go by everybody. No icing. Mercier to the far side looking for a teammate and finds one. Stayed forward. I can't quite tell who that is. Stranger Rinks turns it around though. That was Botello for Game of Zones. Stranger Rinks back in the Game of Zones end. Under 3.5 to go here in period 3. Still locked at 2. Back behind the goal line. Sagan trying to get it out in front. Ruth McAllister holds the line. Game of Zones are gonna clear the zone. Here's Gabby Condello. Looking for the wraparound. Looks like Lang was ready for that. Shot in, and Lang's gonna pounce on that. 2:49 remaining in the third period. 2-2 tie. Game of Zones got on the board first. Stranger Rinks tied up. Stranger Rinks took a go-ahead goal, and then Game of Zones tied it again in the second period. And this is where we are. Robinson puts a shot in on net, but then misses on the far side. Sagan and Hardy fighting for that puck along the near side boards. The puck does enter the zone, and the game of Zones end. Martone following it up. Back to Robinson. Out to Frazier. Frazier and Hardy coming in across the blue line. Game of Zones kind of taking their time. Out to Vanderveen. Vanderveen can't get the shot off, but the puck stays in the end. Under 2 minutes to go. Back to Hardy. Hardy trying to get it out in front to a lady wearing green. Frazier was parked on the doorstep, but the pass never reached her. Robinson putting it back the other way. Hardy now in possession at the red line. She's poked aside by Boyle. Boyle nearly stole the puck away. 1.5 minutes remaining. Here's Jen Mullock. Captain, Stranger Rinks, over the blue line. Cutting in, shot in. Was that in? It hit something. Looks like there's a penalty coming too. Looks like it bounced off something. Must have been the goal post. I didn't hear the whistle go. Yep, penalty call. 2 minutes for slashing. It's going against Amanda Robinson. So with 1:04, Stranger Rinks is going to have a power play. Can Game of Zones hold them off so the game ends in a 2-2 tie? Or will Stranger Rinks get a go-ahead goal? Mullet at the blue line. She weaves around the Game of Zones players, puts it in on net, misses on the near side. Final minute of play. Sagan behind the goal line, circles around, turns around, puts it in on net. That goes above everybody and into the near side corner. Mullet trying to skate around. It comes out to the slot area. Steered aside by Vanderveen. Sagan's going to go get it in the far side corner. 30 seconds remaining. All Game of Zones wants to do is clear the zone, and now they will. Breakaway attempt here. In comes Botello. Saved by Lang. That's worth a replay. "18 seconds remaining in period number 3. But the face-off is in the Stranger Rinks end. Can Game of Zones hold on and get a point? Stranger Rinks has 10 more seconds to get an offensive play together. Here's Sagan. Fires it and looking for the tip in front from Martone. Not quite there. Game of Zones isn't going to have enough time to come back the other way, so they are indeed going to earn their first point. Let's have a look at that save by Lang. Breakaway attempt here by Botello, shot in and a save by Lang. That's awesome. Keeping this 2-2. Well, that's going to do it for this one. Again, a 2-2 tie. And a 1 point for each of them. Once again, the 6:30 game is between Selling Slap Shots and Shots Creek. So I hope you can join me in about an hour for that. For now, I'm Cheryl Gerway. I'm going to sign off, and I'll see you in a bit. Keep the faith.